All right, so we have to go live. We click on live, go live now, and we go live. All right, so we are live. I see Nita is on. Nita, you can come to the stage if you like. And just to see if you guys can hear us, just put emoji. I see the system it's loading. Okay, thank you, Diana. All right, perfect. So we start the sixth audio event with from AI Sketch to AI Catch. That's the title, and the 3D Revolution, which is coming soon, which is really cool. This event we like to cover a lot of cool stuff related to the AI. I have several speakers with me. Also some technical things. We like people to raise their hand. You can come to the stage. I invite Ren as well. She's on the stage. But you know, come here, highly possible the mic might be muted, so you need to unmute, and again on the bottom right of the screen you need to click on the microphone so you can come in. So let's start. I will start with a quick presentation, and after that I will ask my invites to present themselves. So my name is Sandu Baciu. By trade I'm a civil engineer, but I really like a lot of other stuff. I do have background also in architecture, in industrial design. I'm also very good with 3D modeling, but I'm really passionate about the AI, and that's the reason I'm keeping all those discussions. I would like the ladies to present themselves. Nita? You? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So I research in the longevity space, and I work in biotech currently, and I pretty much use AI for purposes of multimedia art generation, and sometimes my most recent venture was just using it to design podcast cover art.
Awesome. And I will ask Ben and Roberto to present themselves.
Hi, I'm Ben Rolfson. I'm a performance analyst, which just means fancy title as programmer at TELUS. I've also got a background in 3D, traditional artwork, illustration. I've been using AI for the last few months just to see where I can go. I just really love exploring the space and seeing what you can bring out of it, and if you can actually bring a story into fruition with these tools.
Awesome. And Roberto?
All right, so I'm Roberto Avila. I'm a marketer and a brand strategist with a background also in industrial design based out of California. I started out as an industrial designer in Silicon Valley for designing products for the tech industry, and then I kind of pivoted more into the sort of the creative marketing space, and now I own my own small marketing agency specializing in branding, design, innovation, and strategy for small to medium business clients in industries such as CPG, consumer packaged goods, publishing, tech, and exhibits. And I'm an AI enthusiast, and I'm always looking for creative ways to incorporate AI into my workflow for myself and my clients.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yes, that's really cool. Actually, that's what I like to discuss. So basically, on this event, we kind of cover three parts. We talk about the way of applying innovation, and obviously with AI. How was your experience, and the cool stuff, and people can learn about it and try to apply and discover new things. The second part usually is more on the news, and there are a lot of news. Obviously, every day something new it's related to AI, or like last week even Apple released a lot of stuff, but they didn't talk about AI, which is really cool. And the third part will be related to the 3D part, 3D revolution, as I'm calling, because I think with AI the 3D is gonna come very fast from the back, and maybe in a year we're gonna have a lot of 3D items, cool scanning, stuff like that, coming to the market and creating really cool, interesting things, including obviously the Web3, immersive experiences, and so on. So that being said, I quickly like to do a quick introduction, and I was thinking during the from last week, what will be a cool, let's say, introduction. And I think that the first one related somehow to the innovation, and I did a bunch of posting too, is related to the addiction side. I found on LinkedIn a really interesting post regarding some experience with the rats, and they were like having the different labs in a lab or somewhere. They give them two waters. One is clear water, the other one has got some addiction on it, and if the rat is alone, is gonna take all the addictive part, but if they create a nice cool environment, it's quite the opposite. The experiential, that the reaction is quite the opposite. Everybody use the clean water and they don't want to use the water which makes them addicted. And the whole idea was that the addiction itself is an adaptation to the environment. And going from that idea, I was thinking, well, what's happened with this AI? Because if we look, AI is quite addicted also. And if you look to the past of those experiences, you start raising some questions like, okay, why this addiction comes? And if we look also to the science fiction literature, there were a lot of discussion about it. And even this morning, I posted one saying, hey, what we do right now with ChatGPT, a lot of people, they are just typing, but is that an unofficial way of actually having a psychological therapy, or having some discussion about your mind, and you didn't realize that happens on the background? So that will be some cool stuff to touch on. But for the innovation itself, to Midjourney, I'm really using a lot of Midjourney, and usually text to image. I realized that with AI I could have some shapes, forms, which I can do it by hand, and I can think about it, but when you use AI, that enhances my creativity process. And also from a rendering point of view, traditionally I'm doing something in 3D and I'm texturing, and after I have a nice building or an object or an architecture or whatever, and takes time. Basically, it takes time to do the 3D model, takes time to put all the textures on it, takes time to render it, put the lighting, So with AI, with the prompt, you can create something really close to what you have, as long as you give also a doodling. Basically, what I'm doing on a post-it, I'm making a quick sketch, I'm scaling that, I'm making a picture, take the web address, put it in Midjourney as a reference, and refer that to get an upscale. On the prompt, I'm saying, hey, make it a high resolution textures and all that. So I'm taking the first cycle, I have a better image. Again, I'm using this one as a reference. I'm making another cycle, even better image. And after 2-3 cycles, basically from a sketch, which is really rough, you're gonna have a quite nice rendering, very nice materials, very nice textures. But sometimes it's a little bit closer to where you start, but it depends on the settings or the reference which they are using. Sometimes you get really far from where you intended to be, but the results still are, let's say, at the concept phase, also inspiring. So therefore you can use that information and do other cool stuff with that. So that will be an innovative way of using AI. But I will ask my speaker from their experience, how did you use the AI in an innovative way? And I will ask with Nita, because her field is slightly different than images, if that's okay with you, Nita.
Sure, definitely. I think one of the newer ways that we're using AI is for things like drug discovery, for example. Recently, the FDA had passed some legislation that non-animal models will be acceptable for safety testing. And so some of the alternatives that have been proposed are organ-on-a-chip technology, bioreactors, and computer modeling. And so AI is used to predict ligand binding. So basically, if you administer a therapy, which target will it bind to, and are you going to have proper fit for it to actually achieve some sort of therapeutic effect at the target where you're intending to. So that's one way that it's being used in biotech. A few other examples are the way that machine learning models are being used for a lot of different things. So I specifically work in longevity and aging, and we have something called molecular aging clocks. And this is basically a way to compute biological age. So when people ask you how old you are, you're telling them your chronological age. It's determined by when you're born. But biological age tries to answer the question, like, what is your risk of death in the next X years, depending on how healthy and how well your different organ systems are functioning. So you can have an overall biological age as well as organ-specific ages. So we know that different parts of the body age at different rates. So you can have like a brain aging clock, a liver aging clock, and so forth. And the way that we compute this is by feeding large amounts of data into these machine learning models. So some of them are like different types of regression techniques that we apply, or neural networks. There's a lot of newer techniques that are still being developed. But those are a couple of ways that we're using AI and machine learning in biotech and aging specifically.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I remember probably 2 editions ago, I have it in the comments also an example for some people in France, in Lausanne actually. What they did, they use a test with rats. They showed to the rat a movie, and based on the external sensoring looking to the brain activity on the waves, they were able to recreate that artificially as well, and I found that extremely interesting. That is, on the biotech in general, I think AI is gonna take more and more. Right now, we see all those images and artistic kind of reaction, or in music, but in general, let's say in visual or in audio. But we didn't talk too much about the bioengineering and the application of the AIs in the medical field. I think will be a lot of breakthroughs to that as well. I think it's really cool. Ben, on your side, how will be your innovative ways of using AI?
Well, from a storytelling point, I've been trying to create multi-character prompts and so forth, and things like Midjourney, which, if you have tried that yourself, you will notice that sometimes you will get certain characters blending into one another, and it becomes quite a gelatinous mess of strange-looking people. So in version 4, I was able to take upwards of about 3 or 4 different characters and create them to have specific outfits and that sort of thing, and have some sort of consistency throughout. So I think that's probably the key to, at least in generative imaging, like in Midjourney, is to be able to produce something like that, where you can actually latch on to a specific set of attributes to each, to be able to accurately represent those across multiple renditions and poses and that sort of thing. I heard in the rumor of maybe version 6, version 7, something like that for Midjourney, that they're going to be thinking of that sort of thing, like a sort of clamp to hold on to certain attributes of a character or subject, or whatever you want to call it, to do that across multiple generations. But right now, that's a big challenge right now, and I find that a lot of my time doing something like a story, I find, is spending way too much time trying to get that consistency. I don't know if anyone else has experienced any of that.
Yeah, there are some tricks. Either you name your character and you kind of give a reference, and that gets consistent throughout. But back to what you're saying, the challenge of on upcoming versions 6, 7, whatever it's gonna be, if they succeed to have consistency with the character or the object, that is what I'm actually interested in. if they have the consistency,
Yeah.
it's gonna be easy to go on the 3D model, because that's the biggest challenge, and I will touch on this toward the end when we're gonna talk about the 3D revolution. But that's what I'm saying as the biggest challenge. That means, in a nutshell, what AI is doing is shoveling databases. Basically, it's taking an existing data, and based on the prompt or the command, if you want to call it as an engineer, he's gonna remodel that. He's gonna reshuffle it and reassemble. That's how I'm seeing AI. And of course, it's an output, and that is gonna be based on the command intention. Of course, we are passing the pixel area. When initially in Photoshop you have some pixels and you move them around, we are passing that, and now AI is talking concepts, and a chair is a chair, it's an object. Is that the understanding? It's actually beyond the pixels type. But you're right. I think if they fix this randomness, which is actually why AI is so strong, because it's random, picture to picture. But if they have that consistency, I think that is gonna have as a side effect the development of other things, because in that case, that object could be rotated. You have a front view, side view. So if you have this, you apply the 3D scanning processes, and suddenly you can extract a 3D mesh from that. And I think that is coming, though, no doubt about it. I think it's really cool. Yes.
Yeah, I see. Like you can even prompt things like in Midjourney the roundabout renditions of a character, right?
Right.
So they can exist in the round, right? It can imagine that in one go, but to do that between different generations is the huge problem, right?
Yeah. It's back to the database.
And
I
if
think,
you look at,
yes.
Sure, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. It's fine. I will explain the database after.
Oh, okay. Like what I was thinking was, I was just looking at Runway, like Gen 2, right? You're
Right.
doing text to video, and you have consistent character moving in a space, right? So it's got to be there somewhere where you can actually cut down on those attributes, right? They're wearing the same clothes, they're moving in a scene, so
Yes, I'm actually.
we're on the cusp of
Right.
something big.
Yes, it is. It's coming. The energy is boiling up. It's gonna pop up. We know for sure. And I'm glad actually you mentioned Gen 2 with Runaway. And Diana, if you want to come to the stage, I dare to post in the comments your post regarding the Gen 2 and Runaway. But back to the database. I think on the database right now there are only parts and pieces. For instance, from an image, it's not the whole image. They will take parts of pieces by identifying from a previous thing. So if they want to see a chair, they have an idea what the chair is, and they go on different images and they can subtract the chair information. That's why I think it goes. But it's beyond that. It's not only an attribute like an object or a subject. I think it's also a process. And back to what you say roundabout, basically turn around and show me that. I think they will be able to see that on different, let's say, whatever is in the database, basically, and they can identify the process itself. That means 3-4 image means this is a character, or this is a car, this is a chair, and looks like this from their side, looks like this from their side. And that being said, probably they will be able to fix the 5 digits, because the hands, that's the biggest challenge with the hands. The hands always, they are different. It depends where you are looking. That's the reason sometimes you have more than 6 or even less. But I think the process, if they fix this process to understand the process, therefore they will understand the subject kind of in 3D, but as a concept. So therefore, obviously, the 3D part is going to come faster. This is the energy which is coming with AI, basically. Really cool. Roberto, on your side, what are the innovative ways of using AI?
Yeah, so for me as a marketer and sort of a brand strategist with consumer brands, I'm really trying to incorporate AI with what's called the new product development stages, or NPD stages, sort of like a stage gate type of process. And it's really split in about 9 different stages. And as of today, AI can help in about 4 out of the 9. Okay, eventually you probably could do a lot of some of the other ones as well. But that involves like discovery stage, like ideation stage, really quick prototyping and concept generation of different things. Also, the marketing strategy as well. And that's more, it's less of Midjourney, more of a ChatGPT thing. It's just going after who's the target demographic, what's the household, all the stuff, information that ChatGPT has access to it. And then really helping with Midjourney, like mood boards, like I said, concept prototyping, and really marketing materials too. Mostly on the digital side, because those don't require necessarily upscaling too much. Things like web ads, social media ads, display ads, and so forth. Those are really, you could do those today. On the print side, you need some upscalers in order to get the images to fit the requirements for print. Be it, anything from magazine, newspaper ads, billboards, that kind of stuff. So it's my focus is mainly on the product development stages within consumer brands, and that's where I see and I look forward to AI. Some of the challenges now is, and this will probably eventually come within a year or so, is taking a client's brand guide book or brand guide, inputting that into the model, and having the model really dictate the outcome based on the guide. So it follows the colors, it follows the logo, the sort of the brand guidelines, and is able to output that with reasonable fidelity, right?
Yeah, actually, a really good point, because at one time I was thinking to say where AI is actually very heavily impacted and where AI, it doesn't matter too much. So exactly as you said, at the concept phase, I think AI is got a really big impact. 80-90% you can say I can use AI to start up something, like have whatever, an image, a character, or it's the brainstorm kind of. At that level, you can use a lot. On the other side, in architecture, I think that is going to be, as I call it, live design with the client. Then there is, I do see a possibility in the future, in the next, let's say, 5 years, you actually have something like Midjourney, could be any other software, but the idea is you are with your client and you brainstorm, you kind of ask what they like, and in real time you show the possibilities, and you basically start for that image, and you take that, and you're not going to use AI or minimal AI just to develop the rest. What that means develop the rest. There is a 3D database where you can just pull the walls or recognize the wall, the beam information, that means walls, windows, doors. As long as you create that initial concept and the client like it and say, yeah, we can go with this, you just import the other thing, and that's the 3D revolution, which I'm saying. Basically, you start with an image, and after that, all the other parts, you just pull it from a database, you combine them, and the final thing where I don't see too much impact with the AI right now, it's the groundwork. Okay, develop the plans, printouts, and all that. Basically stuff which needs to be exact, where you don't want any variation. That means we agree with this concept. Go ahead. Walls are here, windows are here, and you produce the, let's say, the building for building for construction. Actually, is the right term. Planning, so the contractor can go and build that particular house, for example. So I do see that coming. So AI is heavy impacting at the beginning stage, at the brainstorm stage, and after that kind of faded out. And other tools could be AI tools as well, but other tools right now, they are traditional, which they do not have that AI randomness. They are very fixed. What you ask, that is gonna do. And if you ask, draw a line here, it's gonna be a line. It's not gonna be a curve, and that's how the future is coming. The other thing regarding the prompts, I do see the other thing as well. On the prompts, there, if you want to have a good outcome, you obviously need to have relatively a good prompt. There are variation of the words which you can use. Some words have more power because they are more represented in the database. Some they are either on the different languages, so therefore the references get diluted. But the number of the words is important too, because as we know in the prompt, the heaviest part is in the front part of the prompt. So if you have like one word or even emoji prompt, I don't think it's too much input from you as a user. You might have a hint, but whatever comes over there is purely random, in my opinion. If you have, let's say, up to a dozen words, like 30, 50 words, I think that's probably the best way of keeping your prompt. That explains you what you want. You have the right words over there, the good weight per each word, and therefore the results is quite good. But if you go like 100 words or 200 words or narrative style, I do not think you're gonna have such a good results either, because it's like that bell curve. Few words, not too much. You reach that optimum, say 30, 50 words, you got the best, close to what you intend to have, and after that is dropping, because when there are too many words, whatever is toward the end probably doesn't matter. The database is not going to be shoveled to get that information. So that will be a really cool one. I do see Lance. Lance, I will bring you to the stage as well. Please unmute when you come. You have the button muted. Hi. Hi, Lance.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's just to jump in. I saw any room with Chris Branch and Big Al. We gotta be there. And of course, Sandu, you always put on good events. And I'm actually on my way. I'm actually doing a project where we're actually working on something, and we're building gazebos and stuff for one of the facilities at the church. So you talk about like construction. Like we were just talking about how AI in construction could aid in a lot of crazy, like simple things, as long as it's not abused. Like when it comes down to what you were talking about, like being able to keep the prompts simple. And I've even been trying to, kind of figure out, like, exclude this, add this, replace this, using different prompts to get what you want, and then seeing it happen, and putting it in reality. I think that's the thing I'm really most like drawn to, like educating people on how to get what you want in the fewest amount of words as possible, brevity, and then building upon that. Once you get it to the core, you can always, expound from there. So
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to say. I just really I've been really enjoying.
Yeah, thanks, Lance. There are some few tricks. At the beginning, what I did actually, I was using an Excel file, and I kind of have my keywords, and down below I was adding all, concatenating all those, and I could have easily the prompt so I can copy paste it. But more recently, I'm using also the phone for a while with Midjourney. It's easier over there too, just copy paste, and those are some tricks which you can use. But yes, less words, but still good enough to explain the idea. That will be the best advice. The other thing which I
was wondering too about like the Boolean style. Does the Boolean style, does that actually help at all? Because if a Boolean will say this and that, not that, so adding a little bit of, because I used to have Boolean searches built when I was, a staffer. I can source the purple squirrel and the pink unicorn when you need them, because I knew exactly how to craft a good Boolean search. So I'm wondering if that has any application to what you're doing.
It does actually. You can use the no. You can exclude, for instance. That is actually a command in Midjourney, and you can exclude. You don't want people, no people, or no sky, or no color. You can do that. Actually, they do have a bunch of booleans, and also they do have the addition and. They do have that. Similar for the references. If you want to use multiple image references, you can do that as well. But it's getting meshed up. That's the thing, because Midjourney usually is just reshuffling. My personal opinion, I think they took parts and pieces based on different, let's say, what AI got trained. either as a principle, either as an object, or the attributes, or the process. And I think that's what they are actually doing when they create the final image. I do had some good results on hard surfaces, starting from doodles. And the trick which I noticed it, I can upscale it up to a certain way, and after that I will just took out the references and continue upscaling. So, which that means Midjourney is learning from your prompts. I'm almost sure they have that on the background. So whatever you did before, Midjourney learn from what you are looking for, and when you start using certain references and you upscale it several times, I think he's gonna remember, oh, he wants to have a car here, and when you take the reference out, we'll continue toward the direction which you start, which is actually quite interesting. I mean, so I strongly ask if anybody else can try that and let me know the results. That will be quite interesting. So kind of we're in the middle of the event, and this is the time where I'm trying to switch toward the news, and I noticed the biggest one was text to image and to clips, and obviously Gen 2 from Runway. That's a good example. I see that it's quite interesting, and I see Sachin also raise the hand, and I like to bring Sachin on the stage. And Sachin, what other important news you think we should add here on the image side prior for me to jump on the 3D part, which I really love?
Yeah. Hey, Sandro. Yeah, it's nice to talk to you guys again over here. Really on the news, I mean, Gen 2 definitely, I mean, some examples I've seen that they're really great. We have tried as well, and Diana was trying as well. And yeah, I mean, to the couple of questions earlier, what in terms of manipulating videos, I mean, if you have come across this particular app called Wonder Dynamics, right? Where you have an avatar generated, and then you can yourself act, like do some kind of videos and turn yourself around, and then it overlays that particular avatar on you. I think that could be a pretty cool trick in terms of animating certain videos and applying certain styles to it. And in terms of image generation itself, what I've found really helpful is, because I'm creating some game design characters for one of the game studios right now. Like creating a model sheet of these characters and using these the seed parameter in Midjourney really helps in creating consistency in terms of the visual consistency for that particular character. Like you said initially, like using a particular nickname for that particular character, that helps. Combine that with the seed parameter and only changing specific keywords in terms of action, emotion, or composition, that helps a lot. So it'll keep that overall consistency. You definitely have to use that particular prompt in there, followed by the seed number. And then if you create multiple compositions or poses for this particular character using this particular technique, what you will then get is a model sheet for this particular character with probably a few visual differences, but overall you will receive that consistency. And then finally, when you have to create completely new poses, let's take for example for this character, you've got to feed in all these images that you have created earlier. So it's like you're feeding Midjourney with the database of this particular character so that it understands very clearly. Now you've got to rerun the same prompt with the same nickname and the same, probably not the same seed number. You don't have to use it right now. And then you can create new composition or poses for this particular character. I think that helps a lot. I mean, it's probably not going to give you 100%, but you will come close to 90% of it. It's similar to what Roberto was saying, like in ChatGPT, if you have to create, like ask it specific questions, what you got to do is first feed it a lot of content so that ChatGPT understands GPT-4 understands what you're talking about. It can learn through it, and then you can ask it questions. I think it's a similar technique of what you can use in Midjourney. It's not perfect, but I think it comes close. I'm not sure if a couple of you have tried it. Maybe you have had similar results. I would love to hear about that.
Well, yeah, you touched on that. I've tried that here and there, and I'm going to be doing that for another project coming up, and it's a really handy technique. Steve is God, for character design and so on.
Right.
But yeah, it's like a mini training, right? When you're creating all those images.
Exactly.
It's very handy.
And you can try is Leonardo.ai. I think that one gives you the option. It has a great interface. It's not on Discord. It gives you the option to train these images, train your own AI model, and then you can assign it a particular keyword and then use it as your prompt. I think that should also give you a head start. I mean, the quality of images are definitely not as good as Midjourney, but it should give you something concrete to create a storyboard, for example.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, just for people which are new to Midjourney, two things we cannot touch. Discord. Yeah, a lot of people doesn't like that. We know that, and I'm not sure if Midjourney will change it. I don't think they will change it. They will still stay with that platform for a while. It's pure economics, I guess. But the second thing regarding the seed, for who doesn't know how the seed works, when you like an image or your own reference, you just need to go and right click and attach the mail sign, and that is gonna send you the seed information through your bot chat. So a lot of people did ask before how you can get the seed information. That's the easiest way to get it. With us also we have Brian. Brian, welcome to the stage.
Hey, good morning.
Right.
Great show, Sandy. Thanks for doing this. It's finally catching one. I keep missing yours, so I'm super happy to be here. But I just wanted to jump in on what Sachin was saying, and this isn't meant to be a shameful plug or anything, but I'm actually creating a tutorial in collaboration with CreativeSpark.ai on just what he was talking about how to create characters in Midjourney and get consistent characters and some of those tricks. And that's on July 19th. I can put a link in the thing here. But I just wanted to mention for the viewers, if anybody who was interested in that, I mean, Sachin was giving a lot of the tricks and tips away for that, which is awesome. But kind of hard to follow maybe for some people who want to actually do it just from hearing him talk. So if you really want to get more in depth in it, it's not till next month, but that's coming. So I just wanted to put that out there. And good info, Sachin. Thanks for sharing that stuff right over there.
Thanks, Brian.
We should chat maybe.
Yes, yeah, it will be a lot of discussion, no doubt about it. Okay, thank you. Also, we have Liliana with us. Liliana, we'd like to hear your opinion as well, your experience.
Sure. Thank you, Sandu. I just wanted to say something about Midjourney and Discord. If you're on the Discord server, go to announcements. There was a poll that they took. They're back on May 22nd, and they're asking about building a standalone website and a standalone app. So, give them your thoughts on that, because, I hate Discord myself. Like, it's too many new things to learn. It's too difficult to maneuver around. So I gave them my thoughts on that. But it seems like they already know that. And, maybe if they can get some very good feedback there, we won't have to keep doing this Discord situation anymore.
Yeah, I can add it to the news, but this is old news because, yes, I know they know about Discord from 6 months. A lot of people, they really complain a lot. And again, as I said, I think it's back to the economics. But yeah, you're right. I think probably they will have something different. They will try it. I'm expecting like a pilot, either as a web site. I think that's probably the easiest. It's look like if they go toward that route, they will be afraid of the competition because, it's not Midjourney right now. It's definitely the lead from visual point of view. Of course, it's a very sensitive part with their references and all that. I hope that will be solved somehow in a certain way. And definitely it's gonna be it's gonna take some time, put in this way, but definitely it's gonna be a solution, no doubt about it. Either if they go to the Supreme Court and Supreme Court is gonna say yes or B, we'll see. But at the end, I think it's gonna be a resolution with the way they use the database, freely from the internet and bypassing some other stuff. But the point is, if they go with a web site, you're gonna have the big other developers like Google, which they already expend a lot of on AI with Bard, and you have Microsoft, which is already hand in hand with OpenAI. So I think that is the biggest concern which they have. But in Discord, they do have the power of getting outstanding results visually. And of course, like everybody else, at the end, it's actually the product which matter. And a lot of people which are using Midjourney, they run through all these hassles with Discord, because at the end, they like to have a good picture, a good product based on their prompts. So yeah, we'll see how the things will evolve. I think they have to do something about it, no doubt about it. There are way too many complaints about it. So yes.
There is an alpha out for that. Has anyone tried that or applied for it? Because if you rendered about 10,000 images and you go to their Discord to member support and do /info, I think you can get into the alpha of Midjourney web interface.
Okay.
Can you say that last part again about going to member support? What are we
go
doing?
to the Midjourney channels, like member support, then you type in /info. Like it's if you've generated up to 10,000 images so far using Midjourney, you should be able to get in if you've gotten the 10,000.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what I was asking everybody, all this good information, the references, please put it in the comments of the event. Whatever software, right? And I will explain about the Seed and the other software. Sachin, you mentioned a few other ones too. So yeah, I think it would be good to capture that information, because that is how I'm trying to people get access to the information. And meanwhile, I'm trying also to have a copy after this event, so people can come later and listen to it at least. So yeah, because there are a lot of good information which are coming. And related to the news, I was writing on my notes here to talk about Apple big event. They come with that vision. Again, design-wise, this look like a bummer in my opinion. But I like the idea. They combine over their VR and AR, and the reason why I'm saying that is coming, and I kind of expect AR, augmented reality, to be a little bit behind right now. It's behind, but it's gonna pass the VR. I do not see too much interaction with VR, except if you use it integrated with reality itself, so with augmented reality. And that is the transition which I'm doing toward the 3D revolution. There are softwares available, and I tried on my side to take an image from Midjourney and see if I can get a mesh out of it. And I tried Zoe Depth. I really like Zoe Depth. It's getting relatively okay mesh. The only thing is like the scanning process. They took the distance based on the lighting of the image, and they made an approximation. So you have that, but if you turn it around, it's just a mesh, because an image usually is giving you only a position, one point of view. So whatever is behind that, you don't have the data, so therefore the software is give you nothing. Basically, it's a mesh in the air. So you need to import that mesh in Blender or any other software where you can play with the mesh and basically correct the back side. So that works. I tried that with organics, and I tried that with hard surfaces. Organics is probably a better result, because being organic, it doesn't matter if the proportion is a little bit off, or if you make it a little bit more round. Yeah, it's organic. It's nothing perfect over there. But with the hard surfaces, if you want to have a building, you notice right away the walls are crooked, and the squares are not square. The windows, instead of being a rectangle, it's a mix. It's a rhomboid or something. So I see some problems over there, but the principle is okay. I think that definitively it's important. And if Midjourney will fix their randomness, and they can keep a character or an object consistent in 2-3 views, the next thing will be importing this with let's say scanning kind of technologies, which I think is probably more easier than creating 3D objects itself. Another small note, there is also another software which I was looking to it, the 3DFi. Is basically based on a prompt. They will just create an object, so you can do a chair, whatever, a vehicle, a wheel. That's fine as well, but I think this is mostly pulling 3D information from a database and reshuffle it quickly. So basically, it's like the images, but they already have a database of 3D objects, and they just pull that. So yeah, it might be, but I thought it would be more interesting to build it up slightly different, basically specifically to what the user have, rather than find something and give it to the user, like the shopping mall kind of. So is anybody having experience with 3D, or did anybody try something to bring from Midjourney and kind of making as a 3D object? I'm just curious.
I have not yet. And if you could point to anything that you think makes sense, everything I've seen so far hasn't really seemed useful to me in terms of for production or whatever, or even really that great. But if you maybe I'm missing it. So I've been really busy on 2 jobs right now, so I haven't even had time to look at everything. But I would love to know what your thoughts are on what's the most usable.
Yeah, I will paste there a bunch, and actually I see Ernesto join us, and probably he's going to talk about the eSchool AI, but I will let him to present it. Hi, Ernesto.
Hey, how you guys doing? No, I'm not going to talk about eSchool this time because I'm still waiting for them to launch it.
Yes, but cooler.
Anyone that doesn't know about it,
yeah,
it's an amazing application that should be coming out soon, and it basically is Midjourney for architecture, with the ability to produce CAD and 3D models directly related to an also generated image. And the cool and applicable thing for architecture is that the parameters are based on things like height, volumetric, and not only stylistic approaches, but real hard parameters that we care about as architects when we're designing. But with regards to trying to convert Midjourney and any kind of generative objects to 3D, I have a lot of success using ZBrush, which is a software not commonly used for architecture, but the alpha channel parameters in ZBrush for any kind of material is a very robust kind of its own little engine, where you can, similarly to what you would do with depth mapping through any 3D tool like Blender, it can convert bitmap alpha into a very rich depth, and with combining different alphas, you can actually generate 6 faces, essentially a full cube, and therefore if it has forms, it creates a full 3D form.
Yes, and actually I'm glad actually you mentioned it, because I usually ZBrush is for modeling organics, a character or stuff like that. That's how I use ZBrush long time ago. But the other thing, you can do something similar also with SketchUp. They do have the Terra model kind of, and you can take an image depth. But the trick is also to make the grid. Basically, in order to build up the 3D, that mesh has to be really, really fine. Basically, every small square over there has to be so minuscule, like the pixel kind of, so you can have that depth, and therefore you have a good resolution for your mesh. the other thing on the Venice convention, Ernesto, which I saw it over there, and the lady which presented over there regarding the Xcool AI, I like they create the database. So basically what they did, they took millions of 3D elements, and they have all their properties, and in real lifetime, and in her presentation, show you how you can mix up different, let's say, layouts. You can do it for urbanism as well. Actually, you can do it for urbanistic purposes and have buildings and roads and stuff like that. And I think that is how probably the future is coming, because always I made a parallel. What Midjourney did, it took an image and it was not looking at the pixel level, it was looking more to the concept, attribute level, and from each picture it was starting taking attributes, a chair, a vehicle, a wheel, and so on. And that was on a 2D plane. It was something on 2D. Now we're gonna have the same thing as a concept, but in 3D. So that's what I saw the comparison with Xcool. What they did, they have a database of 3D elements which represent a ton of different things: floors, slabs, windows, and so on. And pretty much as Ernesto said, everything which is architectural. And with that, you took it and you start combining, and automatically those elements in 3D, they start combining, and therefore you have a 3D element. And that is what I like it as a concept. Basically you mesh it up in real time.
Hey, can I jump in there, Sandra? So one of the things I noticed, or I remembered, is Unreal Engine has, and I don't use Unreal Engine yet, so I haven't dabbled with it yet, but I've seen they have a really cool new generative landscape
they do
environment development. Yeah, and so what's really cool about that is I've noticed, I've seen demos where they literally, the user is creating their scene, and if they want to now change, let's say they have a vast scene with a mountain and a landscape, and now they want to put a river in there. All they do is cut the river in there, and it literally rebuilds everything around it on the fly, in seconds, to change the new shape of the landscape. It's pretty incredible. So that's already here.
Yes, it's similar to what Photoshop Beta is doing, but it's in 3D. And actually, I'm glad you brought the game engine in discussion, Brian, because that's what the future is. So no, if I'll be a kid again and I will ask somebody, hey, what should I learn? I will say, well, first open something which is free. Don't make any debt. Don't spend money. Blender is free. The game engines are free. There are two of them, Unity and Unreal. I will say go with Unreal, and I will explain shortly why. And the other thing, use the AI, because that goes fast. Learn as fast as you can, because somebody else is going to come on the back and is going to learn faster. So why I'm saying this, with Blender, it was a software which appeared like 30 years ago. And I know about this for more than 20, 25 years. I didn't use it too much. I used other software at the time, 3D Studio Max, Maya. It was really, really good because you could create really nice renderings. I was on the architectural side at that time. But with time, I saw Blender becoming free and done pro bono by different developers, and I really have a big respect for Blender, me personally. I think it's probably one of the most complex which can be for free. If it was not for free, that was more than $100 software if you want to buy it. They do have a lot of plugins, and to my kids I said, learn Blender, because for sure that's gonna help you out, even if you learn the principles. Now, building stuff in Blender in 3D is slightly different than you do it in AutoCAD or in SketchUp or in Rhino, since we talk about Rhino. It's different. You can mimic that. Yeah, you can do sculpturing, organics, so you can do a lot of hard surfaces, buildings, architecture, walls, and stuff like that. But it's a very, very strong software, and it's also open. That it's always is going to be developed and brought to date, and that's the reason I think Blender is really good software. And from there also you can put the textures, and you can import it in the game engine like Unreal. And here is the real cool stuff happens. Unreal by default it's free, and also it's coming with other software like Megascans. Those Megascans are also free, which means you can have rocks, vehicles, foliages, forest, everything. And that's the reason it's really powerful, because you can import those assets for free basically, and you can create an environment. And of course you need to add the lighting and do some work, which I hope they will make more progress on that, like the V-Ray, to have very nice lighting by default. But definitely the engine, the game engine, it's opening the path toward Web 3D, immersive realities like the VR. And what I think the next one will be with them, and they do have actually the AR, the augmented reality, and that is probably what I'm seeing coming really fast as a 3D revolution. We getting closer to the last part of our audio event, and kind of I got a little bit deeper on the 3D side, which I'm really passionate. But back to you, Brian, from Midjourney point of view, are you interested to go on toward the 3D side, or do you think it's gonna be more toward the video side?
For Midjourney specifically,
yes.
I think it's going to become more 3D.
Yes.
Or do I want it to, or what are you asking?
Yeah. What do you expect from Midjourney to come with? What will our user would like to see from Midjourney in the future?
You know, I think I've already seen some pretty cool like white papers from NVIDIA and whatever. They're already like that, and I think somebody it was either on your call that I caught the last tail end of it last week, or it was on John's, but was mentioning another software that was coming around the corner that's going to basically be like Midjourney and do all of the, you know, like have the 3D data there and whatever, which is, I think that's amazing. I mean, I do character stuff. I'm a motion graphics animator by trade, but I do, I dabble with character stuff and whatever, and I'm developing my own animated series, and so to have tools where I could be creating 3D models right out of Midjourney would be absolutely astounding. So, I mean, if it's not Midjourney, I'm going to be definitely using another software. If Midjourney decides to stay just 2D, art and whatever, that's fine. I mean, it does it very well. Again, the problem just continues to be with Midjourney that it's sourced on so much, supposedly unethical type stuff and whatever that, people's artwork that, it remains a problem in that regard. But, if they could somehow figure that out, or if that becomes not an issue anymore. I don't know if you heard about Japan has just released.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not
yes.
even respecting copyrights for training data. It's
yes.
crazy. So, and that's probably going to be the way it's going to be. I mean, and there's a whole discussion there, I think, because the question really becomes, is that really something we need in this world? Like, is that just based on, the capitalistic, society and how we've needed to protect ourselves from monetary gain? But maybe the evolution of us is to get past all that and to not even need to protect our art, just to be creating for the sake of art and for the sake of the greater good and, evolution. And so, these things.
Yes, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. We kind of switch in the last second toward the ethical side. And
sure.
No, it's okay, because I want to talk about that too. No doubt about it. I saw that. So the information which I have, India, for instance, it's also open toward giving copyright to AI built stuff, which is quite opposite which happens here in North America. I saw that from Japan, which was a surprise for me, and obviously we know probably China is copying that anyway without asking anybody, and probably other countries right. They do that anyway. But the point is, okay, from the ethical, I think that will be a resolution, and I kind of touch on it. Because yes, when somebody builds something and is the author, we need to respect that. And I always said, yes, whatever it was in the database, if somebody has his information used, that person has to be in a form or another retributed. And even if those let's say class actions, I think they will reach the Supreme Court in US. I have no doubt about it. But the response, I do feel it is going to be more like, yes, they will give something to the artist, but it's not going to be substantial. It's going to be something very minimal, but they will say, yeah, you got compensated. You know, that's usually how those things will end up. And in the same time, AI is going to be so smart, you don't even know what reference is going to use. You know, like even right now, I do not need to put any artist name. I don't need to. Because if I want a comic, you write the word comic and it's going to be more like Moebius, you know. You write concept art, it's going to be more like Sid Mead or something like that. That means I see AI become so smart in their protection, call it, you know, to protecting their way of business, and they try to kind of stay away from all those sensitive areas. And again, they're sensitive, I agree with that. But in the same time, as you mentioned too, what will be the ultimate outcome? At the end, it's for the good of the humanity. And we know that, like any big things, you know, nuclear power, for instance, that was the same threat as AI. Oh, it's going to destroy the world. But at the end, we took the good part. We take the positive part. Same, I will say about AI too. We're going to take the positive part. You know, people, they will find that balance. And yes, AI disrupted a lot, but they will find that balance. And yes, some people, they will get hurt. We know that, but we hope we're going to have a way of compensating for their hurt, you know, like doing humanely transfer so they can use something else without being, you know, financially hurt or, you know, from intellectual property hurt and stuff like that. So yes, I think it's a subject which definitely we can talk about, and I'm really curious, as you mentioned, what will be the outcome. I hope at the end.
Well, to answer your question though more directly, I would just say that you know, it would be amazing if Midjourney allowed us to create 3D models, or at least created 3D imagery in the sense that you can, once you generate your image, you can then turn it, rotate it, or tell it, you know, like, let's figure out what the back looks like and all that kind of stuff. That would be incredible. I mean, I think that you said it already on this call, that what's coming and that what we need and what's, you know, inevitable is control that
Yes.
we're missing. You know, the randomness is amazing for creation, ideation, and ideally, hopefully, we will never lose that ability to do that. But we should also be able to then say, okay, now let's take that and do this and that, and not, you know, remove this and all that. And that will be where the power really is. That's when we will be true, you know, architects of our own, you know, design and creation in the world, or you know, alchemists.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
So, yeah, but
Yeah.
good stuff.
We already, all of us, we are in this hybrid type of working between yourself and an artist which you don't know, and the medium is the AI, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, really cool. Okay, we reached toward the end. If you guys, you like, I will ask one of the invites if you want to have a quick closure. I will ask Nita and Ben and Robert to have a few words, and after that we wrap it up.
I think I'm just like really excited about how AI is going to continue to evolve. Like a lot of our guests said, just the progression from 2D to 3D is extremely exciting, and I'm just looking forward to see what else the space holds.
Perfect. Thank you. Ben?
Yeah, it was funny, but I actually have Unreal and I have Blender installed on my PC, so I have all of these tools that are going to shape the future, and hopefully you can get down and dig deep into them. It was great speaking with you all.
Thank you very much. And Roberto?
Yeah, so I just want, I'm always at awe and admiration and gratitude for the AI community, especially here on LinkedIn. So I just want to shout out to everyone to just keep creating, keep exploring, and keep sharing, right?
Yes.
So, and
Yes.
mulțumesc mult to you.
Thank you.
La revedere.
Yes. So for the people on the line, I'm actually Romanian born, and he said, "Thank you." All right. Thank you very much to everyone, and we'll catch up next week, Thursday at noon, New York time. Thank you very much again. All the best to everyone.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, guys.